Here we have the second part of Chapter 8's videos dealing with the 6-column worksheet. If you remember from the first one, we had 6 columns, of course, that's why it's named that, but we did the trial balance and we totaled them, but we didn't have any totals for the income statement or the balance sheet. And so what I've done is we've simply looked at that spot at the bottom of the income statement and the balance sheet, and that's where we're going to fill in things like this, okay? So if you go to the bottom of the trial balance, you'll see it's balanced, and we've done our trial there, and then we've also put numbers up top, for revenue and expenses, and we totaled those, and all of our permanent accounts, assets and liabilities and capital, and we totaled those. And you'll notice the trial balance came out equal, it matched. That's good because that's what we want, but neither of these was actually in balance. Okay? So when we total up the income statement and the balance sheet, we get numbers that are not actually, balanced. So what we do is we write in whichever one is smaller, we add the difference underneath. So I look at this number here and I look at that number there. This is the bigger number over here, 2650, and that's bigger than this 1500 right here. So the difference, I have to subtract the smaller one from the bigger one. I find the difference and I put it under the smaller one. All right? So I have two numbers. They could be either one is bigger or smaller. In this case, the one on the right is bigger. I subtract the smaller one and find the difference. I put that difference underneath the smaller one as if I'm going to add it to that to make it balance out. All right? So we want these two numbers to balance, but we have to find what the number is that's going to make them balance. And that's the difference between the bigger one and the smaller one. Find the difference, put it under the smaller one, and then add it to that, and now it balances. What we're going to find when we do this is we've just found, in this case, our net gain. It could be a net loss or a net gain, but it turns out in this case it is a net gain. All right? So you can think about this in a couple of ways. You could just say to yourself, hey, when the number is on the outside or the left of the income statement, it's a net gain. And when the difference number is on the inside, it's a net loss. Okay? So that's the quick cheat sheet kind of method there. But what this is really saying is that our revenue, it comes down from revenue, this number, was greater than our expenses, which is where we got this number. And if our revenue is greater than our expenses, the difference is a net gain. Okay? That's what that's telling you. These numbers all came from expenses, and these numbers came from revenue. If the revenue is greater than the expenses, the difference is a net gain. And if we're running a business, this is what we want to see. Okay? So just to make sure that that difference is there, we add this one to that one, and yep, we've checked. It is that correct. We've done both forward and back, and there's our numbers. And then 2 lines underneath, we prove it. All right? If we go over here to the balance sheet, you do the exact same thing. You find the bigger number. In this case, this is our larger number right here. You subtract the smaller number, and you're going to end up with the difference. Now, you're going to notice right away the difference that we have here is the same as the difference we have there. Pretty amazing, huh? Okay? So this is why doing the trial balance correctly is so important. If you get the right numbers to then work with this, it's easy. It all works out. If by chance you get a number that is different for this net gain and the balance sheet, you did something wrong and you need to go back and check. Most likely it's an adding or subtracting error. You want to check that out. Okay? The other thing that could be wrong is that when you move numbers from the trial balance over to the income statement or the balance sheet, you reverse them. So you put assets as a credit, which is not its normal balance. Assets are always debits, liabilities are credits, but if you flip some of those, well, you got a problem. So check it out. Make sure you copied all the debits from the trial balance correctly into the balance sheet and all the credits correctly into the balance sheet. You got to do it like that. Okay? So it could just be a copying error. All right. So what you should have is that what it's telling you is that you've got extra money from your revenue and expenses that are going to be added to the value of your business. So you've got the larger number minus the smaller number. You're going to find a difference again. You put it under the smaller number as if you're bringing it up to being equal with the larger number. Okay? So it's just another way of checking on the balance sheet that your income statement is actually correct. And in this case, it should be a net gain. Now, that's not always the case. Sometimes businesses lose money. You could have a net loss. All right? So in that case, you've got a number on this side, the expenses, that are actually larger than the number on the inside, which is the credits for revenue. Well, the difference is you got to find the difference and put it under the smaller number so that it brings it up to being equal with the larger number. And in this case, this is a net loss. Okay? And it will bring down the value of your business, because if you do the same thing over here, you're going to find that this number on the outside is greater than the inside. You got to find the difference. You put that under the smaller number, add them together so that it comes out to be the same as the bigger number. And you're going to find that if you have a net loss, it's going to end up on the inside. So the two numbers on the inside mean a net loss. The two numbers appearing on the outside will mean a net gain. Okay? So that's the quick and easy shorthand. You can just say, well, if it's on the inside, loss, outside, gain. Okay, but the thinking behind it is, what's going on here is that this means the expenses are greater than your revenue, and so the difference between your expenses going higher than your revenue is this amount, and that is how much you lost. All right? And that'll be reflected in the value of your business, because now you're that much, what is it, $746, short. That's how much money your business lost. It's less worth value. So this is your gain or loss during the accounting cycle, usually a month or a year. And this is the value of your business during that time. Has it gone up, or has the value of your business gone down? That's your balance sheet. Okay? So the trial balance ends when you total them up, just to make sure your numbers are correct. From there, though, we've got some other things to do right here. And this is the main important part of the chapter, okay? Getting to these numbers for your income statement and your balance sheet. Now, we're also going to practice doing these as standalone documents. So 6-column worksheet, we're going to do it all like that, but you can also just do a trial balance on a piece of paper, get out a whole new sheet of paper and do the income statement, get a whole new sheet of paper and do the balance sheet. But they are the same. Okay? It's just practicing different formats. So keep that in mind. Don't lose sight of the accounting rules and principles just because the formatting changes. Keep those same principles in mind as you do it, and you'll be good. All right? So we're going to practice Chapter 8 and see how this goes.